Life's good, man. Just getting to the thick of preseason, trying to get these guys ready to go, um, and trying to at the same time keep my coach happy. So it's which I've been good at that so far.
Yeah.
It's been a great balance, but he's gotten more comfortable with me because when he hired me, we didn't know each other, and so it took us about 2 years. Well, actually, almost 2.5, 3 years to really build that relationship where like he trusts me, which he trusted me before, but more so just trusted me in regards to like if I make suggestions, he'll actually listen. And then with that, with more power comes more responsibility. So, he used to not get as involved in what I do, which is fine. I actually prefer that. But now he's a little bit more involved, which is fine also.
Yep.
But everything has its pros and its cons. So, he comes in and will be like, "Hey, what do you think about this?" I'm just like, "Oh, it's good, coach. We do that too." Or, "What do you think about this?" And it's like he's never told me I had to do something because he knew I can get the job done. He don't know how I get it done. I just get it done. This year, he wanted me to do something specifically that I fought with him for about 3 years. I lost it. I said, I want to do this. Okay, coach, whatever you want. So, but you know, it's a little boot camp thing that we're gonna do a week before practice. And at the end of the day, does it make sense? No. But at the same time, it's like sometimes you got to do things to like bring these guys together, and you know, hopefully, as things get really hard in the season, like they'll look back on that and just be like, all right, like y'all remember when we did this? Like for example, when we did our track work last week, we did it in the rain, right? It didn't rain super hard, it just sprinkled. And that could be potentially be a moment where could I borrow them inside? Sure, but that could be a moment where we could talk about in the season that the guys could be reminded of that can hopefully galvanize them if we're in a rut or something like that. So
One of the things I want to start with is you talked about that duality of like getting pulled, like you're serving the players, but you're also serving coaches. And that's something that I have talked about a lot. I feel like for at least 4 or 5 years, like that difficulty of being tugged to serve both, because it's not that you can't, obviously we do, but sometimes what a coach wants isn't what the players want. Sometimes what the player wants isn't what the coach wants. But how do you recommend us strength coaches live in that duality and do right by both? Because it's difficult to serve two masters, quote unquote.
yeah, the biggest thing, at least in my opinion, is you got to be comfortable with yourself first. You got to be comfortable with yourself, and in turn be comfortable with how you go about doing your job, right? Your X and O's, your sets and reps, your systems, whatever. And then what you do is you say, okay, I know this system really well. I know it works. Now, how much of it do I need to tweak to meet halfway with my coach? My coach wants to do this. I know it's like, but I got to do it. So what can I do to be able to do both? And the thing is, I think time is our friend, because at the end of the day, okay, if coach wants to do something for a week, okay, like it's not going to hurt anything. We still got the season, including in season and off season. I think it's about 42 weeks, 40-ish something weeks, if you include like the whole season, summer, preseason, right? And then postseason, it's not really a postseason anymore because more times than not, like coaches are bringing kids in. And I may have 3 or 4 kids. Like last year, I only trained 3 or 4 kids for 2.5 weeks after the season. So you got plenty of time. So if coach wants to do something for a week or even a day for that matter, okay, like no problem. So then it's like, how do I spin it to be like, okay, like he wants to do this. How can I make it make sense a little bit more than what he originally wants to do so we can both win per se. And that's what you have to figure out. And I think that the most important thing that comes with this knowing yourself and then once again being comfortable with the system that you use or the methodologies that you use. Because as you know, especially younger coaches, and I was definitely in this boat, is, you know, they want to, if you always go somewhere, if you always, you know, be attracted to different methodologies and want to do something different, you're never going to be able to build a system. If you don't know yourself as a coach, I remember I spoke to a coach years ago. He said something that I'll never forget. He goes, how you go about training athletes is an embodiment of yourself. So, so that's why knowing yourself, you know, that's why how I do things is an embodiment of me. I'm a simple guy. I can eat the same things. I can do the same things every day. I can watch the same shows, no problem. And so that's why, you know, we do how we do things. Why we, you know, now I guess we'll go more into detail on that, but like, and so that's what it is knowing yourself, and then on top of that too, I will say, is getting people involved. Like, don't be a fortress. Get people involved. The best thing I ever did was, and I learned this from Todd when I was with the Sixers, watching him work, is like at the end of the day, like you're not the only person training these guys. You're not the only one. Like other people are going to influence how your program goes. And so, like, making sure I'm cool with all the assistants, making sure I'm cool with my dietitian, making sure I'm cool with my athletic trainer, making sure I'm cool with my sports psychologist. Because at the end of the day, the higher level you get, the more specialists you got to deal with. And so you got to make sure that your allies are all on board, you know, so things can go a little smooth. So, for example, if coach didn't really like feel right about what we did today, and he asked an assistant, I know the assistant's got my back. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So there's that aspect of it too that a lot of people don't talk about.
No, they don't talk about playing nice in the sandbox, but that's something that the chiropractor that I work with at Towson, he would talk a lot about. And he talked about on his episode is like, you got to learn to play nice in the sandbox with everybody because A, it helps the student athlete out, but B, it also protects you and everybody else.
Yep. And that's the thing, man. It's like, and people don't like, it's an ego thing, right? Like, you know, stay in your lane, I'll stay in my lane, blah, blah, blah. Like, no, like, come on.
Hawken Dynamics is my preferred choice for force plates and for handheld dynamometers. Made in the USA up in Maine, I have been using them since 2020 when I was at Towson University. Still use them at Goldfinch today, and I brought the plates to the high school that I've trained at. We will use the plates and transport them when we train athletes at the many different high schools that we currently work at. As I said, they are a handheld dynamometer as well with the True Strength. You can assess athlete internal, external rotation, hip, AB, adduction, calf strength, hip, whatever you want to assess, you can do with the True Strength. It also has the ability to pair with the difference striking machine. So now you can see single strike, multiple strike. Check out Hawken Dynamics down in the link down below.
Come on to the lane. Just know, like, you know, like I have driven this lane for a long time. So you're just coming in, just seeing what's up, giving some suggestions. Maybe you make my lane better. I don't know.
Correct.
Because I'm going to go in your lane a little bit, maybe, you know, say a little something. Nothing crazy. Just, hey, we think about this. And he may say something. Because I remember one of the coaches suggested something to me, like a treadmill workout that he used to do when he played. He played at Kentucky, so big time. He's a big time player.
Yeah.
And guess what? I do that treadmill workout for all the guys that need to do a little bit more conditioning. It's simple. It's in and out, 20 minutes, 1 minute on, 1 minute off. You can do it every day, and you increase your speed whenever the guys, you know, get better at the speed. It's that simple. Now I do it now. So like sometimes when people get in your lane and suggest something, maybe it can widen your lane a little bit, you know?
Well, and even not for nothing, you're building your leadership capital, as Jocko would talk about, where now people are like, yeah, Dom listens to me, or whoever listening on this call, hey, they listen to me. And so now you've built that up because you can't always say no. If you're always saying no, they're going to stop asking you questions. They're going to just think that you're a pessimist. But if it doesn't violate, like you said, okay, 1 week, 1 day, but if it's not unsafe to the athlete, how much do you have to actually push back? And I've been guilty of this in the past where I'm like, that's stupid. It's not perfect. We got to not do it. And it's like, man, I made more enemies than I needed to in my time. So if you're listening out there, don't do what I did. Do what Dom said right there in the beginning of the episode. Like, that's going to be your way to play the game longer. And like you said, you might widen your lane a little bit.
Yeah, I mean that's the biggest thing is widen your lane so you got more room to work and you got more room for error because you're gonna make errors. At the end of the day, you want to have more room to make errors in case something is in your lane if your lane's too narrow and you can't dodge the debris that's on it, then whenever you crash, you're gonna burn. So you wanna widen your lane. And of course, sometimes you gotta say no. And I've said no a couple times, but
Yep.
I've also said yes 3 or 4 times before that. So when I say no, it's like, all right, no problem. Nobody's upset. And I explain my no. Of course, I'm not gonna say no and not explain my rationale for it. Of course, I'm not gonna tell my head coach no, but I tell it, in a way like, cause how he is he trusts me 100%. He doesn't know as much as I know when it comes to strength and conditioning and performance and stuff, but he'll make suggestions. And then what I do is if I don't want to do it, if I think it's not necessary, then I'll just be like, "Hey, coach, like I get it," or "Yeah, we do this," or I might just say, "Hey, coach, you do this too, actually during practice," blah blah blah, and stuff like that. So you spin it in a way where you're like, "Oh, coach, we already do this."
Yes.
Like he had sent me a workout of a strength and conditioning coach. And he goes, "Do you do this stuff?" I'm like, "Yeah, coach, I do this stuff." And it's funny because he was like, "This is really basketball specific." I said, "Yeah, coach, we do this stuff too." And oddly enough, the day before, we used Lilas here.
Yep.
And the guys had the Lilas on the day before during practice. So I just thought that was kind of funny. And I know the strength coach that he was talking about. So I sent him a text jokingly. I said, "Hey, man, keep doing your thing. You're putting pressure on me." So, it's all, like I said, man, like I'm not, when you're comfortable with yourself and you believe in what you're doing, and that's just me. Like I'm not going to be bothered by suggestions. I'm not going to be bothered by people who question what I do because I know it works. I've done it trial error. I've made mistakes. I've really, I've sharpened my sword. I've widened. I've mastered my lane, or at least beginning to master my lane. So making suggestions and all that stuff. Coach wants to do something I don't want to do. Okay, like, and the boot camp thing I've done before as a young coach, so I can do it. It's no problem. Like that's the beauty of how I got to where I am. I've worked under so many different people that I know so many different ways of doing things that sometimes I'll pop something with the guys they didn't expect. You're like, oh, I'm like, yeah, I have a lot of tools in my toolkit I ain't used yet. I just don't think they're necessary to use at this particular moment. So
I want to talk about the bringing them together moment. Like you said, okay, these boot camps, and I'm asking me personally of like, okay, how much do these, I'm not going to say, we'll call it mental toughness training, whatever it is.
yeah,
And I'm going to use the example of this past weekend. So right now it's Wednesday, the 3rd of September. The Iowa Hawkeyes just played on Saturday. I worked at Iowa. Kinnick Stadium is loud. They brought in a brand new quarterback. He's a transfer. He was coming from San Diego State. 1.5 million for 1 year. Everybody, and it kind of looked like the moment was too big for him. He just couldn't handle it, and they played a low level team, but he threw pretty pathetically. What I'm going with here is mental toughness being task specific. It was playing quarterback at a night game with the lights on, 75,000 people watching, and that stress. How much do you think a preseason boot camp style thing brings people together? Because I know they do their game simulators. I know they have their in Kinnick practices to try to replicate it. How much do those things have a carryover to potentially help? And I know you can't really measure it, but I just, anecdotally between two coaches want to talk about it.
yeah. maybe it's just I used to didn't believe this, but you see it every day when you lift guys. When you think about it, right? Of course, nothing's going to compare, to playing, at Kentucky, or nothing's going to compare to playing at Ole Miss,
right,
when it comes to stressful situations. But how you do one thing is how you do everything. I believe that 100%. I do. I've been doing this long enough to know, like, if we're doing 20 reps and I'm counting and the kid doesn't know I'm counting and he does 5 less reps, it's like, I also see that you're one of the guys that subs out a lot more when we do 5-on-5 during practice. Or if we're doing something really hard and the kid's, bitching and complaining about it. You're one of the first ones that will bitch and complain when coach is going off on you, especially like whenever you get subbed out and coach doesn't hear what you're saying. Because I'm very observant. Like when I'm watching practice, I'm not just watching practice. I'm watching how guys react when coach coaches them. I'm watching how they react whenever he gives them compliments. I'm watching, even on the bench, I'm watching all of it. Like, the thing about this is how I do things personally, is like I try to have my hand in everything so I know what goes on in the program so I can protect my head coach. He'll never know, right? Some things I've protected him from, he'll never know. And that's fine. I always say we're ninjas, man. Like we get shit done behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And when you're watching guys, how they react when they make a mistake, how they react when they get coached hard, how they react when they have success, if they have a good game, how they respond after that. Like, all of that I saw in the weight room.
Yep.
Just doing good training, I see it in the weight room. So, of course, when you put them in more stressful situations like a boot camp and you take them through adversity, like, you're going to see it a little bit more. Because everybody's cool until they get punched in the mouth. And what happens is with the boot camp, you're gonna get punched in the mouth for a week straight. So how you gonna handle it? Does it make sense? No. But what it does is it shows guys how they react in stressful situations. And like I said, can guys fake it? Sure. They could rah-rah and all that stuff. But if you know what you're looking for, they can't fake it. And I've trained that for a long time. And I know what I'm looking for. Like, when we get done doing it, I'm going to give coach a report on every guy. I'm going to type it out. I'm going to give it to him. Here's my thoughts during this boot camp. At the end of the day, like I said, like, how they do one thing is how you do everything. Like, if you treat a janitor like shit, you don't think you treat somebody else that you think is below you? Let's say an assistant coach, for example. You don't think you're going to treat them like shit either? Like, and that's the thing, man. Like I said, like, I used to not believe that. But, so I know some people who don't, a lot of people who don't, but, like, I've seen too much and I've observed too much to not believe that. Like I said, like, if you can do it in a small, stressful situation like a boot camp, you think you're going to do it? You think you're not going to do it whenever you got 18,000 people cheering against you? Or you got all people cheering against you and you're having a bad game and coach on your ass, but you still have to play well. Okay, you're not shooting the ball well, so you got to do the other thing.
Dasher has completely changed the game for how I'm able to time my athletes, whether I'm doing ACL, max velo, or curvilinear running. Had the blues, had the blacks at Goldfinch. Now that I have the silvers, this has saved me so much time in setup, breakdown if I'm going from Ankeny to Huxley, or from Ankeny to the Nevada location, or Nevada to Huxley. Like, wherever I got to go time athletes, it has made my ability to go from one place to another so much easier with the silvers. Strength coaches that have to go from one field to the other, or from the field to the court, this will help you save time. Now, in the spirit of saving time, you also have the ability to have an API interaction with Team Builder. So now you can see all the data on the back end. Seeing data on the back end, Dasher has a free app, a player profile app that'll allow athletes to see their data. Over 6,000 coaches and athletes have done so. And if you want more than just the timing gates, if you check them out in the link down below, they have solutions to help you out with vertical jump, broad jump, RSI, all that. Check them out in the link down below.
Thanks. Or whatever. You don't think you're going to do that if you're doing it there? Nah, man. Come on. Like, if you're doing it down here, when it's more stressful, you're definitely going to do it up there for sure.
Yeah, and that's I'm definitely one of those people that have a hard time with how you do one thing is how you do everything. And I think maybe with a more immature younger person, maybe that's the case. And like I said, I think we agree on so much else that I don't really think it's worth going down that rabbit hole. But like you said, yeah, there's a high probability if you're going to bitch and complain down here with the team, it's just going to expose you, right? And so that's where I like what you were saying, like doing these little boot camp things, like it's going to expose what might potentially show up later in the game. But like you said, you can't ever really train for it unless you're there in that situation.
No, and like I said earlier, and I'll just say this: talent hides a lot of things.
Oh my gosh! And sometimes winning is losing.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And like, I'll give you an example. I try to give examples about this as best I can. When I was with the Sixers, Ben Simmons, prime example, talented, but you could see it. But he was so talented that it took a while for everybody to realize it. Sometimes talent can slow down your fall.
Ooh.
Right? And that's what I mean is if the game is easy for you, are you ever really going to be in stressful situations? Because the game is easy for you.
Huh.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because that's why you see dudes, like, let's say, for example, older athletes that they're done playing. They're really good players, right? They were so talented that, they never really got in, like, the stressful situation to see where they're at. And they get done playing. All of a sudden, they're a regular person now. And now all of a sudden, that stress increases because now they're doing something they're not good at, being a regular person. And all of a sudden you hear on the news, so-and-so is blah, blah, blah. Or so-and-so is in jail, or so-and-so is this, or so-and-so is that. Oh, so-and-so's got to pay this, or, so-and-so is going bankrupt. Like at some point, like, talent slows down your fall. And at the end of the day, because you're so talented, everybody wants to be with you. And so they're going to try to help you to slow down your fall further because they want a piece of what you're giving. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, like I said, I get it, though, because like I said, I used to think that way, too. But the NBA, because even, Joel Embiid's the same deal. Like, I seen things that nobody, knows or whatever. And, he's a great player. Like, dude, oof, my goodness, great player. But, he has some mannerisms that, we'll see what happens. And, he's not holding up right now with his knees and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And, at the end of the day, like, talent can only take you so far. And like I said, some guys, and there may be some people that will never be in that because maybe they're talented enough and they made the right, smart decisions with their money that they'll be fine for the rest of their lives, maybe. But like I said, like, talent slows down your fall, and that's part of the reason why, like, guys who aren't good people but still dominate the field or court because they're talented.
Yeah.
Like, I'll be curious to see how Anthony Edwards, how his career goes.
Right.
I'll be very curious. I've been monitoring that.
Yeah.
Because he's making decisions that are like it's pretty obvious.
Yeah, he's been pretty mouthy with, like, I'm just like, this is interesting.
That's what I mean. Like, we'll see. He's so talented, like,
correct.
He's good right now. So I'm curious to see, like, years down the line what's gonna happen. So we'll see.
Huh. You might have officially changed my mindset on it. Like now I'm not going to draw as strong of a line in the sand of how you do. One thing is how you do everything, and being opposed to it. Like you've definitely brought me to the other side.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, man, like I get it though. And maybe I'm wrong. I'm not smart like that's like psychology, I would assume. And but just I realize philosophy. I do realize psychology. I can't like give you studies and all this other stuff, but I can just use what I've learned and experienced and seen. And because even in the NBA, like I was a fly on the wall. I noticed everything. I walk in meetings, and because I was an intern, like nobody paid me no mind, so I sat down and I just listened. I listened and I looked and I was just noticing things. I'm just like, hmm, interesting. See how that goes. Oh, that makes sense. Okay. Because, like, the way Ben's career is going, I saw that. Like, I wasn't surprised. I'm not surprised.
Yep.
The way, Joel's been, physically, how his body's kind of slowly breaking down. Like, I'm not surprised. Like I said, you see things, and I'm not going to go into detail on everything, of course, but, when you get to that level, the guys, the level that our guys want to get to, like you see things, and you're just like, huh? They're like, because them dudes are like everybody else. They're just millionaires. That's basically what it is. They're like everybody else. They're just millionaires, and they're so talented. Some guys, like JJ Redick, I'll give you him. Like he's a dude that he made more money his last couple of years in the league than he did his first 5-6 years. And that's partly because of his mannerism. Like what he talked about his training, I synced it. Like, yes, he does that every day. He lifts he lifted 3 times a week. Never failed. He tried, never failed. And oddly enough, he did a push, pull, squat, hinge. Like JJ Redick could dumbbell bench 120 pounds for like 5 or 6 reps.
Jeez.
I synced it. You know what I'm saying? He could pull up more than 55 pounds or chin up more than 55 pounds. I synced it. You know what I'm saying? And TJ McConnell's another example, right? Like he worked his butt off. Ben gets hurt. You can see this. He starts. He was already lovable in Philly already because he was tough and everything.
Yeah.
Guy's first triple double. Of course, Ben comes back. He comes back to not playing as much, but guess what happened? He gets more money somewhere else. And because he kept working on his game and kept working hard and knew what it took for him to be successful in the league, he worked on that every day. And now he signed a contract extension with the Pacers, and the Pacers almost won because of him.
Yeah.
But I seen that when I was an intern. Even him working on his shot, he has a slow release. He worked on his shot. I remember him and Todd had conversations. I just listened about that. Like, so like you can see guys. Of course, luck is involved too. Like if Ben hadn't got hurt, then he wouldn't. Maybe he'll have the opportunity. So luck is definitely involved. Don't get that. Luck is involved in exposing people. Luck is also involved in elevating people. So, there's that as well.
So you talked about you listened to Todd have that conversation. You're listening and you have all these knowledge experiences. How do you now take that knowledge and you're the one having that conversation with your guys and you're the one trying to instill that and help them develop and not make those mistakes or to do the things that you've seen people be successful. How do those conversations go? And again, not asking for the private one-on-ones, but how do you step into that conversation for the first time and feel comfortable? Because some of our listeners out there are like, yes, I need this advice because I don't know how to do that.
It goes back. I may repeat some things because I want people to understand it, but it goes back to knowing yourself. If that's not you, then find something else. Find another way of doing it. Like growing up, I've always been a chameleon per se. You know how when you were in high school, everybody had their cliques, right? Like I was never, in a clique per se. So I was able to, kind of talk to and get with different people because I like to read about different things from, philosophy to once again psychology, the different types of philosophy and all that stuff. Like I can have more empathy with people, and Ty was like that too, of course. The biggest thing I learned from him, because I worked for him twice. I worked for him as an intern at Texas,
Okay.
and I worked for him, of course, years later as an intern with the Sixers. I keep bringing him up because what we're talking about, he's has the biggest influence on me in regards to how to talk to people and deal with people. Because keep in mind, like, just the other day, I was talking to one of my kids' agents, just the other day. Like, kids have agents, they have guys now. So you got to navigate that too, by the way. And with me, like, I'm real with the guys. I let them know, like, we talk.
Here at Strength Coach Network, we pride ourselves on giving you the best quality information from strength and conditioning coaches and practitioners that still work with or have worked with athletes. This is not theory. We are always about giving you practical information that you can apply day one the minute you're done listening to this. And you can check us out for a $1 trial in the link down below. Click that link and find out more about us.
Why you here? I want to do this. Okay, cool. Let's say they're messing up. I'll be like, yo, what you want to do again? You think you're heading in that direction? No? All right, maybe you need to change something then. Or if you don't, then maybe you get away with it for a little bit, and then at some point, like, you're gonna fall pretty hard and not get back up. And like I said, I try to use examples, whether it's NBA guys that they look up to in the NBA. Because like I said, being in the NBA, I only was there for a year, but I absorbed so much, and I'm still connected in the NBA, so I know a lot of different things, and I share that with those guys.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Because everybody sees what the social media shows you. I'm gonna tell you what the real is, or whatever. And so going off of that, letting them know the full context of things. And then once again, like getting a relationship with their people. Like if I know this kid listens to somebody in his camp a little bit more, I'm going to get cool with that person.
Yep.
They come to a game. Yo, what's up, man? Blah, blah, blah. So-and-so doing so good, blah, blah, blah. How you, blah, blah, stuff like that. And so, like, it's like a attack of many fronts is how I go about doing it. You're going to hear from me. You're going to hear from my coach. You're going to hear from your guy. You're going to hear from different people. So at some point, who you going to listen to? Listen to somebody, whatever. And that's the thing is like, if I know a kid has a better relationship with a GA or, with anybody else, like, 'cause I'm not going to connect with everybody, right? Then I'll go through the GA or I'll go through the assistant to try and get to the kid. You know what I'm saying? And then once again, all this I kind of just observed, whenever Ty was in the NBA, or he still is, but whenever he was in the NBA. So hope that answered your question.
No, it does. And you've talked a lot about Todd. And so I know I'm familiar with Todd because of one of your SEC basketball colleagues, Mike Chapman, and I, we worked together at Towson, and Mike had studied Todd and a lot of his stuff. Talk about the, kind of the X's and O's of what Todd does. Cause I've seen his pivot matrix. I've seen what he's done, with Vipers and his vertical core. And so people aren't as familiar as I am, but talk about the impact, because I think Todd Wright does a lot of really good training for any kind of athlete.
Well, what's funny is everybody talks about faster training, right?
Yes.
Todd's been doing it since.
Thank you. And he wasn't just only calling it fascia training. It go down that rabbit hole, please.
So I interned for Todd at Texas in 2011.
Okay.
He was already fully ingrained in that years, already doing it for years before I got there, just to let you know how long he's been doing it.
Yes.
Like Todd basically took Gary Gray's system
and
turned it into a performance system.
Yes.
That's basically what he did.
Yes.
Now, people forget, though, that before he got involved with Gary Gray, Todd was old school, and they're still, and and the issues that, at least from my perspective, is that people sometimes forget. Because Todd still trap bar, he still does all the traditional stuff, but he blends it with the
Yes.
AFS stuff. Like when
Yes.
I was with the Sixers, for example, like he had dudes trap bar deadlifting. Like we had Robert Covington trap bar deadlifting 405 for a triple, or Joel Embiid's trap bar deadlifting 500 for a double.
Yeah.
But then after that, they're doing the lunge matrix or whatever right after. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So, like I said, Todd's been doing this, and I'm actually going to talk to him tomorrow just to talk to him about some things. But I remember whenever the fascial stuff got really hot, maybe a year ago, I texted him. I said, "Damn, Todd, you should probably patent this or something." Man, he just started laughing.
Yes.
Started laughing. But yeah, Todd's been doing this. Todd's been doing that fascial stuff for a long time, everybody's, I guess you can say catching up. That's usually how it works. Somebody else does it first, and then all of a sudden, same with Yeses, right? Like the same deal. Like he does certain things, and everybody else is kind of following suit. And yeah, so like hell, we had dudes. I remember we had dudes that were doing lunge matrix curl to press with 60-pound dumbbells. That's 120 pounds. But like the faster guys now aren't doing that.
No.
That's a blend of Todd before Gary Gray, Todd after. Like we're still gonna load these dudes.
Yes.
We're just gonna do it in 3-dimensional.
Yes. That's the part that just I feel like has totally been missed. Is it's like that was the post that I made on social media the other day, was like, it's not the main like if you're not actually placing enough load on the organism to drive adaptation, it can't get stronger, it can't get more robust. Problem. But only moving up and down in the sagittal plane, also problem. When you can expose the body to the 3-dimensional stresses, like you said, pivot matrix, lunge matrix, using J-bells, using dumbbells, using a Viper, using a medicine ball, getting in and out of the transitions fast. Like, God, you just hit the nail on the head. Maybe it's confirmation bias, but I couldn't agree with you more.
Yeah, man, it's funny because, like, when people look at Todd's deal, and, at least from what I've seen, from my perspective, usually he does a traditional movement, maybe 2 traditional movements and a 3D movement. Or he might do traditional, 3D, whatever it is. But they forget the traditional part, and they just look at the 3D part. And they look at, oh, that looks cool. But then they say, he's loading these guys. Like with the reach matrix. So the reach matrix, you go forward, back, boom, boom, here. He had dudes doing 45, 50 pounds with that.
Really?
Like he had some dude, like he loaded some dudes, and them dudes could like handle it pretty well. Even with KD, right? KD, May couldn't bench a 185, but KD could literally grab a 25-pound med ball, do a lunge matrix into a dunk. You know what I'm saying? Or grab a big Viper, like a
which are heavy,
kilo,
heavy,
a 16-kilo Viper, and just take that thing for a ride. Like that's strength in and of itself, as we know.
Yes.
So, like I said, the problem I see with the fascial people right now is they don't, and they say it's submaximal loading. No, it's not submaximal loading. Like you're just it's sub maximal loading, whatever it is. Like like you can load these dudes in these movements. Like I got a 20-kilo Viper that I have certain guys use. And that bitch is big.
That's
like it used to be, like, because the new ones are humongous.
Yes.
Like
the one you got is the dark green. Is it dark green, or is because maybe the one I had was
it's like a tan color, the 20, but it's like because they used to be all the same size, they were just heavier. Like this one's like the 20 ones and above, they are humongous.
Okay.
Like a big tree log.
Yes. Yeah, like the green one we had was huge, and then we had like a kind of green that had a lime green around the rim, so we knew it was a little bit lighter, and then we had a purple one that was smaller for like our female athletes, because Chapman was all about it and taught it to us, and we started to implement it. Um, Joe Alexander, who is at Johns Hopkins, and Stephen Yorkman, who's a head high school strength and conditioning coach down in like, so yes, like all about it. And like you said, it has now gotten to the point where instead of it being sub maximal loading, 60-pound dumbbell reach matrices and lunge matrices too, now I'm only using 15 pounds, 10 pounds, and I'm doing a water bag. And it's like, come on, you have like, we've lost it. We've lost that loading aspect.
But what's funny is, I spoke to Chapman. I knew of Chapman. We spoke. His first year at LSU was last year, and so we caught up and stuff. And I didn't know how he trained. So like I knew he did the fascial stuff.
He gonna load them up, like, oh yeah.
I know, and I was I didn't like when I'm talking to him. I'm like,
oh yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Like, he loads them dudes.
Yes, he does.
And oddly enough, he had told another strength coach, a friend of mine. He's like, so I spoke to Dom. Dom didn't think I loaded these guys like that. And I'm like, no, I did not. Yeah, he loads them. He gets into them. So it's funny because we were just talking about how we lit how I lit this guy up the other day. He lit this guy up the other day. So it was.
Team Builder has been my trusted source for online software programs for my athletes since 2019. Since then, they've continued to grow. They have this new practice integration where practice planning can integrate with the sport coach. You have your sports science, your AMS, the questionnaires. They've continued to evolve and keep giving you the things that you need. It has made my life easier as a strength coach. I want the same for you. You do not need to keep printing on lift cards. Please, printing on lift cards in Excel, you don't need to do that. If you need help being able to purchase it, they have a pre-written grant on their website. They're also part owners in the Plyomat with Coach Rich Burnett. So if you need to get a good device that can accurately and validly and quickly get your jump height and ground contact time, so now you can get RSI, Plyomat's a great choice. We utilize that at Goldfinch. Check Team Builder. Check them out in the link down below. Please stop printing on lift cards. It's going to make your life easier. It's going to make your athlete's life easier. It's easier to program on the back end. Check out Team Builder in the link down below.
It was cool. Chapman's a cool dude. He's and I forget, like, he interned at Tommy Moffitt, which that makes sense. Everything he does makes sense now. And so I should have
Craig Fitzgerald over at Penn State. Coming in with the, had the football background, right? And could have gone down that path, but like you were kind of talking about, like the ability to, you can travel and see the world more in basketball, but you also have fewer guys. And, Chat really likes to try to individualize training as much as possible. When you have fewer guys, you just have that ability to do that type of stuff with.
Yeah. Sure.
You talked about yeses before. Shout out to Yosef. I know you're listening to this, for connecting the two of us, and you've done the 1x20. You've been kind of an avid fan of it on social media. Talk about when you started using that and why kind of the proof is in the pudding.
So I talked to Yosef yesterday, by the way, about some things about the long to short deal, but I guess we'll get to that maybe. I first used it when I was at Louisiana-Lafayette, about 2016, maybe. 16. And I just used it for the red shirts. Like, I read the book. Well, let me rephrase that. I read part of the book. I didn't read the whole book. Because at the time, like, if you read Yes's books, like, they can be hard to get through. But the more you understand this stuff, now it's like, okay, I get why he's writing how he's writing it, and whatever. But anyway, so I did the program, and I still have it, and it was, it took an hour and a half for the guys to get through all of it. But they were red shirts, so I was like, whatever. Kept doing it, and weeks later, one of the coaches made a comment like, God, those guys look built, and I didn't even pay no mind at that time, because at the time I was still doing something else. And then when I went to UTA, so I went to the Sixers for a year. Then I went to Texas-Arlington. and I used it for another red shirt, and I cleaned it up a little bit and everything. And he was he was a transfer coming off of a knee injury, so and he used it right, and so he used it for about 12 weeks, and so like I did I forgot what the word I'm looking for, but I measured. We had push when push was still
Yep.
around,
Yep.
and so we did velocity profiling for all the guys. And now this kid was an athlete, but his velocity profile was higher than everybody else's. I'm like, COVID happens. So then, guys, and keep in mind, I was talking to Bracious a little bit more prior to that. And Bracious was kind of coaching me up on it. And guys who normally didn't have time because of work had time now because COVID happened. So I spoke to Jeff multiple times. I spoke to Chris McCormick. I spoke to Matt Tomei. And of course, I spoke to Yosef. And I'm basically like creating this 1x20 system that I think I'm going to use going forward. We fast forward, I'm still using it. This is a season where, we're still playing, but like nobody's at the games, right? And so in December, I usually deload guys in December, finals and all that stuff at the time. And so I ran the 1x20 during the month of December. The guys liked it, so I ran it for the rest of the year. And then going to my last year at UTA, that's when I ran it year round, and it worked phenomenally. We tested certain things. Of course, we tested the jump mat. We tested power output. Push had the belts, and so you could measure power output. And I was accurate, probably not, but at the end of the day, if it records the same, at least if you got better, then you got better, even though it's not accurate. But we were recording power outputs during the counter movement jumps. We did like 8 of them. And I'll take the average of that. And so guys improved over time through the jump mat and through that. And so that's when I got fully on board with it. And then from there I just sharpened my sword, using it. Used it at Northwestern. And then of course I've been using it here. So
yeah, no, I mean, I'm an avid fan of it. I've run it multiple different ways where you can, I even did it one time where we started spring ball. We only had 3 weeks to get ready from an 8-week break because of how things were at Towson. We had 3 weeks before we started spring ball. So we did a 1x20, but we did it where first week was the 1x20s. Then the next week we did 20s, 14s. Last week, 2014 8s, just to accumulate volume that way. Because it's like, listen, we're trying to increase the ability for them to work their work capacity. Like we're already doing the 20s. Let's add volume over time to get them ready for spring ball.
So you would do first set 20, second set 14, third set 8
for the week 3, yeah. But the first week it was just a 1x20, right?
Isn't that how I know Kier posted something about that a while ago.
Yeah. And so what typically you'll run like a 1x20, again, depending on the days that you train your athletes, right? Like if you train them 4 days a week, you're probably going to if you change the exercise from session to session, you might only run you could run a 1x20 for like 3 weeks straight. And then you'd go to your weeks of just 1x14. Then you'd go to weeks of 1x8. And when you're done with the 1x8, you go 1x20 and 1x14. You run that until it's a 14 and an 8. And then eventually you would end with a 20, 14, 8. But we just didn't have time. And it's like, yeah, sure, we can get stronger. But the main goal was, I guess, strength, endurance, and the ability to repeat work, rest, over time, because they were going to be going to spring ball. And it was like, we've just got to get general as heck. Like I'll have a time to get super specifically strong, but right now the goal is they have to go out and practice in 3 weeks, and I can't have anybody tear any ACLs or Achilles, period. It can't, that just has to be what we do.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to talk to you more about that, because I do I've read that deal where you basically went week 1 in 1 set, week 2 2 sets, week 3 3 sets.
Exactly.
So yeah, I would love to talk to you more about that, off camera, because I'm trying to just find new ways to just just better this, especially very situational with type of dudes that we get in and stuff like that. So
We've talked about family when we talked on the phone before and off air. Talk about the importance of that for more of our listeners out there, because I know when I was a young strength coach, I didn't put enough value into it, but speak some life into it for our younger coaches that were in that ignorant mindset like myself before.
I mean, it gives you a different perspective. I mean, when I have a 11-month-old, he's going to be a year and 2 days actually. And it puts things in perspective. And what's funny is it makes you into a better coach.
Yes.
People don't talk about that either. I remember last year, one of my kids that I had, he was with me for 4 years or 3 years, 4 years. He's been on for 3 years. So he graduated last year. He made a comment to somebody, and then somebody told me. That's another thing. You get cool people when they talk about you, good or bad, you'll know what they say. And he goes, Donald's been very mellow. And, he's like, and our trainer's like, yeah, he has a kid now. And I've been more like, one thing I will say about the yeses system is taught me patience.
Ooh.
And on top of that, having a family also teach you patience, because you gotta be patient with that infant.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it teaches me to be patient and be more precise on things as a coach. But going back to the importance of family, like when I'm done, I'm done. See y'all tomorrow. It also like has you be precise and respect your time too.
Yep.
Because there are moments where my wife is working and I gotta pick him up from daycare, and we get done with practice like at 5:15. Daycare closes at 5:30. Like, grab his Connexons. I gotta go. Kind of work out for. No, sorry, gotta go. Come in the morning. Blah blah and stuff like that. So, like, it also kind of let me know, like, I'm not on y'all's time. You're on my time. So how bad you want to get better? If I tell you to come in the morning or come in before practice, if you don't come, you really don't want to do it. Yep. You're just doing it after practice because it's convenient for you.
Yep.
Like, if you really want to get better, like, convenience is null at the end of the day. So it also shows me that too. But family is important, man, because at the end of the day, man, like, job is a job.
Yep.
But
Powerlift has been my choice for strength and conditioning equipment ever since I got into the field. Right now, I still have their racks, I have their barbells, I have their bumpers, specialty bars, and we have the IMTP device at Goldfinch, and it's been great for us because it's allowed us to free up the rack where we used to have to do the IMTPs. Now we use that IMTP device, roll it around, we've created more space. You have to check them out. Doesn't matter if in your college, high school, pro, tactical, or private, they have the ability to make whatever customizations and whatever adjustments you need. I was a part of the weight room that was the 32 brand new rack facility at Iowa football. You see what they did for TCU football. Doesn't matter how big, how small, whatever your customizations are, Powerlift is number one in the exercise equipment space for a reason. Check them out in the link down below.
But your family's always going to be there. At least, I hope they're always going to be there. If they're not, then something happened. But the job, and the thing is, the jobs don't care about that. Like, they care about performance. And I understand that.
Correct, and it's fine. Like, to me, that's why I like using the word family. Like, using the word family in sports is like, no, it's okay. We're not a family. We don't have to be there. It's okay. It's a business. This is a transaction. We're okay. Let's just be cool about it up front.
Yeah, that's the thing, man. Like, at the end of the day, it's a business, and it's more of a business now with the revenue sharing and all the NIL and all the more money involved. So at the end of the day, like, if you have a family, like, go see them. And the good thing about my coach is he understands that.
Oh, that's great.
And so it's like, if I'm gone, he might hit me up. Yo, where you at? I said, I had to go pick up my son from daycare. He's like, oh, okay. And or whatever the case may be. Because he like these coaches, all they've known me long enough. Like I'm gonna figure out a way. I'm gonna whatever job you want me to do, I'm gonna get it done.
Yeah.
Just because I have a kid doesn't mean I can't get the job done.
Right.
I'm gonna get it done. Just know that when I'm done, like I'm done. I'm not staying another hour or two. I'm going back to my family. I'm gonna see my boy and hang out with my boy. Even like we got some videos coming up this weekend, and I said, yo, my son's got a birthday party on Saturday. So after practice, I got to go. So can y'all, and they worked it out. Like, I'm going to talk to the recruits, when I'm at the office. Yep. Like, I'm not going to say some programs don't care. Like, the good thing is our guys our guys are great. Our coaches are great. But I think that has something to do with me having a good relationship with everybody too. Like, that also helps. Like if somebody doesn't like you, they're not going to work with you.
No, amen to that.
They're not going to work with you, even if they are good people, like which our staff is.
Yeah,
but they're not going to work with you. And so I've built that equity in our program. Because hell, if I make a recruit better, that one of our assistants recruited, it's going to make him look better. You know what I'm saying? So. Yep. He's gonna help me out a little bit on the back end when I need a little something.
That's how it's supposed to work.
So, but going back to the family thing everything goes back to what I said earlier, is that be yourself, whatever that looks like. Be yourself, and when you be yourself, you'll feel comfortable with leaving early to go see your family. Because you're going to get the job done. You'll be more in tune with how you do things because it's an embodiment of yourself. You'll have the confidence to know that, okay, this is going to work because I know it's going to work. Like I tell people all the time, if I didn't build a relationship with the guy, it's because I didn't have more time. That's it. That's all it was. I just didn't have, I had some guys that takes me, like one guy in particular, it took me a year and a half to build another relationship with the kid to say, okay, like he's actually taking, because he hated the weight room. He hated it. And so I worked him for a year and a half. And we got into it in between that time. You know what I'm saying? Don't get that twisted now. Working with somebody doesn't mean, no. yes. No, like I'm going to get into it with him a couple times just to let him know, like, hey, man, like, I ain't no pushover now. I'm going to work with you, but I ain't no pushover. To a point where when he got done playing and was getting ready to go overseas, he's playing. He just actually elevated. I can't remember where it was. I just recently saw it. He asked me to work out. I'm like, what? Absolutely. Come on, man. Let's go. And so, like, and time is one of the most important factors, right? Like, I know how I do things is going to work because I have enough time. I know that the more time I spend with my family, the happier I'll be at work. Because sometimes these athletes, they work, they wear on you. And sometimes the shit don't make sense. But as Albert Camus says, sometimes we have to imagine that Simmons is happy when he's pushing that boulder up a hill. And so it's just like when I go, I'm mad, right? I come home, I may sit in the car for a minute, regather myself, and I come in, my boy looks at me, runs and gives me a hug. I'm like, all right, I'm good now. I'm good now. And that's the importance of family, man. You can't, there's no replacing that. And like I said, it puts things in perspective, even like the future wise. Like, how long am I going to do this for?
Yep.
If I decide, what am I going to do next? And so, I'm currently working on that right now, plan B in case, because a lot, you know this, a lot of dudes don't stay strength coaches forever, man. It's a tough job to do this for a long time. For the guys who have done it for a long time, like, kudos to them. Like,
yep.
I think of Darby Rich is a prime example. He's been doing this a long time, he's still in it. Like he's like 55, but he's still in it, man. Like, could that be me? I don't know. We'll see. But, yeah. So
Last question to respect your time. It is the month of Sprint Timber. Mike Tucker got Sprint Timber going. You took Jeff's Sprint Biomechanics course. How'd that work out for you? How was that?
It was great. I mean, Jeff is a smart ass dude. Everybody knows that. He's so smart. And I learned a lot regarding that course. Definitely going to, go back and watch the videos and look at the deals. And the most important thing, because like I said, we use Lilas here. And so, that was the biggest thing for me is how you use the Lilas. And so how we use them here as well. Like example being like, he talks about if you want to improve this or that, you put the Lilas here or there. Of course, we got more into detail. I asked specific question. We got more into details on it. Like for us, like my coach values defense. So
like full court press or just staying in front of the man?
Just defense in general. So aggressive defense. We don't really press. We press sometimes, but it's more so just half court aggressive defense, like rebounding and all that stuff. And so when our guys put the Lilas on, I have them always put it on the side to work the muscles that are involved in shuffling and stuff like that. If I had an offensive-minded coach, then maybe I put them in the front and back. You know what I'm saying? Yep. So just that aspect of it. And the history that people don't talk about. The history of just, strength and conditioning in general. I like that stuff personally. Maybe not everybody does. I like where stuff comes from because more times than not, strength and conditioning is one of the few fields, in my opinion, that, if you go back far enough, you can find what the current research shows.
Yep.
And so learn the history of everything. And then, just the importance of sprinting, like that translates to so many different things. Like in basketball, first step, explosive, of course, acceleration stuff. When he talks about the acceleration quadrants, and I forgot the dude's name already. That was pretty big.
James Wild.
Wild, yes, Wild. That was pretty big. So he and I spoke a little bit about that. So I'm gonna take a deep dive into that.
Have you noticed that it'll change? Like, let's say, okay, you're defensively, you're playing pressure, right? And all right, I'm manned up on you and I'm on the baskets to my back right. So, defense, I'm on the top left wing. And that acceleration profile, does it change if I got to like turn sideways and go and run? So almost like a lateral start into a linear run. Have you seen differences with that versus just purely, all right, I'm going to run linear down the court versus I'm here, then I turn and run?
So I don't know. I haven't taken a deep dive into Wild stuff as of yet to answer that question, but just through experience, I would imagine. I don't see why it wouldn't.
Yeah, and you'd want it to be as similar as possible, right? Like, okay, whether I'm 2 feet staggered and this way going linear, or I'm here and I got to turn, like you want that same profile of down and back, but then what kind of, are you in the air? Are you Fred Flintstone? What are you?
Well, it's interesting because the questions that I would ask, because I'm good at asking questions, is does you going against an opponent influence your acceleration style? If you're worried about an opponent, are you actually going? And so, or, style of play, right? Like, let's say Alabama's one of the fastest teams in the country. Are they going to be a little bit different because of style of play? We try to play fast, but we're not Alabama fast when it comes to how we play.
Yeah.
So style of play has a big factor into it. Just regarding start, stop, what are they looking like during the game and all that stuff.
Adam Petway did that research. Like your acceleration profile changes if you have the ball or not with the ball. Like your literal, like how horizontal you are.
Do you have the ball in your hands?
Vitruve has been my choice for VBT for years now, not only because of the encoder and how well it works with the app, and you can film movements with the camera and get live variable feedback in real time if you so choose to on the app, but the fact of the amount of content they have been pushing out to help coaches better understand VBT. It's not only just to move the bar faster. You can be working on what's the appropriate load for high rep sets based off velocity loss. You can be looking at velocity loss threshold between sets, in between reps. VBT is not just moving the bar fast. It's moving the bar fast with heavy weights. It's not just moving lightweight fast. And Vitruve has been at the forefront educating coaches on VBT and how to do it the right way. Check them out in the link down below.
What about transition, right? Turnover happens. When you're running, all of a sudden you got to turn around and go. What does that look like? And you got to turn around, you got to go to a particular man, whether it might be right behind you or maybe in an angle. Like there's so many different things to go about that. But I will say that, as we all know, if you just improve
correct
the velocity, the acceleration profile, okay, if this guy is a quad one, whatever, you do this, it's going to improve overall anyway from that regard. So, it's a tough deal so many questions you can ask regarding that. And like I said, I really want to, I'm really going to take a deep dive. One of the questions I had asked Jeff was, is there a correlation between the velocity, the acceleration profile, and force plate metrics? So if a guy is, let's say, I can't remember exactly the 4 quadrants, but one of them is like, short ground contact, but not as forceful. So does that transfer over, if he does a rebound jump, is it the same deal? Or if he does a counter movement jump, but he jump faster? You know what I'm saying? I can't remember what he said, but I know the other individual, another individual that was on, she was with soccer. I think she saw some correlations a little bit with her soccer athletes regarding that, I think. So, I'd be curious to kind of see all that, but.
And it's definitely going to, what I was just thinking about with my nerdy brain is you want to talk about building capital and building equity with position coaches or whatnot. It's like, hey, coach, let's chop, we have time. Let's chop up, watch this film. Hey, see how this athlete is accelerating, changing from all these different things. I've been learning about this. I think this type of thing in the weight room will help out. Now, you don't have a basketball coach that's like, hey, we need basketball specific stuff, because you're already feeding him things saying, hey, look, I'm watching film with you. This is an acceleration that he does in a game. This is some stuff that I learned about that I could then apply in the weight room to change how he lifts or whatever things he does to help improve what he's doing out on the court. And that just helps everybody win again.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's why I've learned so much about basketball because of talking to our assistants, or coach's assistants. And at the end of the day, as a basketball strength coach, especially if you're just doing basketball, if you're just about weight room numbers, X and O's, doing videos on saying, doing the participation cluster method for this and that, and you're not actually learning about the game, you're gonna fall behind. If you look at my programming, it's very simple. But when we do it, how we do it, the adjustments I have, because people don't talk about this either, adjustments you have to make on the fly. Yeah. Because research shows this, but the world says, hold my beer. I'm going to mess this up for you. So what are you going to do about it? And that's the problem I see with young coaches. They don't know how to combat Murphy's Law at all, because things are going to go wrong.
Yeah, they just know this, I'm a disciple of this program, and we use this program in this system. And it's like you said, okay, well, what happens now when it rained and you have to go inside and now you have to change exactly what you were doing and you don't have the exact same space? What are you going to do now?
I'll give you an example of that, actually. So we were supposed to do top speed work on last Tuesday. And you know how it is. We run 50, 60 meters. You got to rest for 3 or 5 minutes. I was going that's how I was going to do it. So the way our practice courts work, ours is right here. The women are right here. There's a big ass gate. You can just lift up and use both courts. So that's what I was going to do. The dancing team was in there, so I couldn't do it. So I did Derek Henson's 10x10 instead.
Gotcha.
Got good work from it, of course. Our coaches were there. And then we had to lift afterwards. Normally it was just going to be that. We had to lift afterwards because we have to give them off the next day. And that was going to basically mess, because I like to go at least 3 days a week of lifting. And so how I did it was we were able to go 3 and 3, right? We lifted, Monday, lifting and conditioning Tuesday. We were off Wednesday, had to be off Wednesday, conditioned Thursday, lifted Friday. So still got my 3-2 in.
Yep.
And so then, like, with coach, like, you know, if you know how coaches are, if coach, like when coach came to our conditioning session on Thursday, which is more endurance based. So some of the guys still had to run the mile, so they ran it. And the other guys who basically made their mile time, they're at a 400, they rest and they do an 800. And that's it, right? Well, you know how hard that is.
Yep.
And so, like, the guys ran the 400, gassed, right? And so I had the guys run the mile right after. And when they got done, the guys ran their 800. And coach is just, like, sitting there. He's, like, just antsy or whatever, right? Just antsy. And so I'm trying to explain to him, blah, blah, and all that stuff like that. He wants to say something, but he knows, like, okay, I trust Don, blah, blah, whatever. So then, why do I mention that? So then going to Tuesday, I could have done speed work on Tuesday. This is yesterday, but guess what I did? The Derrick Henson's 10 by 10. Why? Because it looks busy. It makes sense too now, but it looks busy. And it cooked the guys too. Like we did 400 meters. We did 4 times. It cooked them. And we lifted after too. And it cooked them. And, that's the thing. It's like, that's the adjustment, right? Oh, I want to do speed work. Okay, but coach ain't going to, like, the assistants were there. And they could be like, damn, coach, all he did was run 4 times and they rested a lot. That sounds bad.
Sprintember is a month that Coach Mike Tucker made so that way strength and conditioning coaches can get outside and start sprint training themselves. During the month of Sprintember, right now, you can save $100 off the new Fundamentals of Sprinting, a complete biomechanics course brought to you by Jeff Moyer. Most speed programs show drills, cues, or outputs. Few show you how to actually analyze mechanics and make real changes. That's where Jeff's Fundamentals of Sprinting course comes in. This has been built on 10 years of studying under Dr. Michael Yessis and working with athletes from high school all the way to the pros, and this course goes far beyond theory. It gives you the framework, tools, and applied methods to transform how your athletes sprint. Inside, you're going to get an introduction to sprint biomechanics, a history lesson, learn from some of the experts in sprint biomechanics like Dr. Michael Yessis, Dr. Verkoshansky, Nikolai Bernstein, understand joints of muscles of sprinting, coach's eye, assessment of sprints, injuries, profiling, transfer of training. All of this inside this course, and you can save $100 with the code SPRINT100. All capital, SPRINT, no space, the number 100, SPRINT 100. To learn more information about this course, click the link down below, and remember, use the code SPRINT100 to save $100 on this course, but this discount is only available during the month of Sprintember 2025.
Right? Sounds bad. So I'm just like, okay, we're gonna do the 10 by 10 again because it looks busy.
Yep.
But
and you're getting high accelerations, and that's your sport. And then a deceleration and to line back up and do it again.
And the crazy thing is, like I said, I read this Larry Hatch's book, the leadership book, what leadership actually is, and he talks about planning ahead, plan to fail, blah, blah, and stuff like that. So I always, if I'm doing something that I think coach would disagree with or question, I always try to visualize our conversation so I can answer.
Yes.
And so, like, if he ever comes and watches and says, what is this? I can be like, coach, think about it. Basketball is acceleration, jogging, walking. And we're doing that. So we're doing specifically basketball. When we rest, we're resting for immediate timeout. So I already had a plan in place for that. But once again, like, it makes sense. And of course, I told the guys, if you don't sprint past the cone, if I got to tell you more than 3 times to sprint past the cone individually, we're going to run it down and back. So there's punishment involved. I know they're not going to, that's hard to do. But now you add the punishment piece into it. Yeah. And once again, I'm checking all the boxes. It goes back to the question you had earlier, the balance part. That's the balance part right there.
Yes.
Not doing speed work, doing Derrick Henson's 10 by 10, which makes sense. Yep. Right? Adding a punishment piece in there. And then having an explanation about why you're doing it in case coach asks, we're just only sprinting 10 meters. Why? Because that's a sport, coach. Blah, blah, and stuff like that, which it is. It is a sport. Basketball is a lot more jogging than sprinting, a lot more submaximal than maximal.
Yep.
And that's we basically did a basketball, like maybe a first half of a basketball game just then with those sprints. Like I said, the guys were cooked. They were still tired when we practiced at 2:30. We did at 7:15. Like, that we didn't have a bad practice, but it wasn't a great one. And maybe it has something to do with that, because we've done a shit ton of acceleration work. Like, it doesn't look like a lot, but it is. It's 400 meters of max acceleration. Like, that's a lot.
And you let that dose, like you said, give it some time. Like 8 hours later, you're like, golly, I did not expect that, because in the moment, adrenaline's pumping. I didn't feel it.
Yeah, then we did some heavy triples afterwards.
Sheesh.
You know what I'm saying? So heavy triples and heavy doubles on upper body. So, like, that's the thing too. Like, when they got done, I saw how cooked they were. So this goes back to what I had said about, here's what the research says, here's what actually happens.
Yeah.
So I already had condensed the lift already. Now, because we did our acceleration work, I don't do any post-chain work in the weight room, because they're getting that with the acceleration work. So then I said, okay, when we get done with this last set, all we're going to do is bench, squat, and chin-ups. That's it. Knock those out, then you can go.
All bilateral takes even less time, because you're not, you don't like it.
We did all our three-dimensional stuff early on. Got the speed work in. We jumped on the plates. So I had guys during that 3 minute break, 3 or 4 guys would jump on the plates. We got our jumps on the plates. We got our vertical aspect of it already. So we're like, damn, the guys are pretty cooked, because I could tell they were cooked, and they were starting to slow down a little bit. You train your coaches how you can tell. They were kind of rising a little bit earlier than what they normally do. They wasn't pushing off as much. Some guys have do a little bit more frequency. Their frequency wasn't as much. So I'm like, okay, this last one. The whole point is A, B, C, D. Let's get this shit done. Then we just do these 3 lifts, and you're good. Because at the end of the day, if guys feel like they have to do more in the weight room when they get done, the technique of the main stuff you want to get done is going to be bad. So if you're short into just the main stuff, the meat and potatoes, of course, they're going to season that a little bit better. So when, hell, I got guards benching 245 for a double, easy. I have dudes that are squatting, high twos, for a triple, and this is early on, because, we got to play Houston on the 26th of December as an exhibition. And, coach ain't going to say a week in the weight room. So
no. That ain't gonna happen.
I'm hoping I can dodge that fire, depending on how that game goes.
You don't want that smoke.
So,
Dom, I could literally talk to you all day. This has been a blast. Go about the rest of your day. Go in, do all the things you got going on, man. I greatly appreciate you sharing over the last hour with me.
Yeah, for sure, man. Appreciate you for having me on. Like I said, I've followed Strength Coach Network for a long time. Appreciate what you're doing. Appreciate you trying to awaken everybody in the field, questioning things. I think at the end of the day, like, it's important to have conversation, even uncomfortable ones. And that's how we grow. And, the bad thing is that's kind of dying right now. Just not even in our field, just in general. People can't have difficult conversations, because I've been getting better as a coach. I would always ask my guys, what could I have done better every year? And, those can be difficult answers, but I've gotten better, because of that. Man, keep doing what you're doing, man. I really do appreciate it.
Vacations are meant for you to be outside doing things that you love and reconnecting with your family and your friends and recharging your battery. It is not meant for you to travel and listen to some coach talk in a conference hall and eat some food that you know really isn't the best thing that you want to be eating. Take back your vacations and do so with a Strength Coach Network annual membership. When you purchase an annual membership, you're going to get access to our course, Performance Coaching 101. In the subsequent years, it'll renew and you'll get access to 102 and 103. Each year, you're going to get access to 2 NSCA CEUs and 10 CSCCA CEUs. These CEUs will allow you to be able to learn from the comfort of your office. You'll be able to earn CEUs on your time rather than having to travel. Take back your vacation and be able to do this with a Strength Coach Network annual membership. Click the link down below for more information. Thanks for watching that video. If you enjoyed it, click right here for videos just like that, and make sure you click here to subscribe to our channel. Have a great rest of your day.